All right, Buzz babies, we are at Kansas City Planet Comicon, and I am with rock star artist David Mack, one of my favorite people, creator of Kabuki, master of Daredevil, made Neil Gaiman cooler with his art. I didn't even know you could do that till David Mack came around. David, how's your show going? How you doing, man?
That's very kind of you. It's very generous of you. I appreciate it. Show's been awesome. Everybody's been very positive and enthusiastic. It's been really good.
Awesome. Yeah, it's looking at the spread you have, man. It's so beautiful. I see your Wonder Woman black and gold right there. Yeah, I remember seeing that the first time. I'm a sucker for anything with foil on it, right? I see shiny stuff. I gotta get it. Your art the last couple years, you're doing these really intricate, like very unique to you, like the backgrounds of your art. You're doing really cool stuff. And it's you carried that now like into your covers, into your print series and stuff. Like where did you come up with this idea, like the kind of splash and muted colors, like the sort of tie-dye effect? Like I mean, you keep doing it and it keeps working, and it makes your art just pop. And it's like, where did that idea come from? Like it seems very minimal, right? But it does so much to your prints.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. It's just like every cover for me is just kind of problem solving the challenges I have for that cover. You know, like with the Wonder Woman, they asked me to do a Wonder Woman cover, so I was pretty excited. I thought like make it a really colorful cover, you know, and use like the watercolor effect and that kind of atmosphere like you mentioned. But then they told me like you can only use two colors for it, black and gold, because that's what it's called. So I thought, I had something else in mind, but I thought, okay, you know, I could figure out a unique solution for that too. So this was kind of my solution to just being limited to two colors. And I was really happy with the way that came out too. You know, I kind of used like, you know, I drew the design in ink, and I painted the character in shades of, you know, gray and black. And then for the background, I used like cut out pieces of like gold paper and stuff, you know, to be the gold color for it. But I asked them too, like, you know, this should probably be, is this going to be embossed in gold as a print? They're like, oh, we had no plans of that. But I think we convinced them to make a gold embossment version of it too. So I think they did a limited version of that.
Yeah, but there was definitely a foil one that I did not order fast. I didn't order it fast enough. Like the stock of those like just completely vanished. And yeah, you've been doing some awesome Daredevil covers. But yeah, I could see how like DC telling you like, oh, you only get two colors. Like, were you kind of like, oh no, like?
Well, you know, at first I had something else in mind, and so you know, you just have to adapt to you know, whatever the challenge of the cover is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like I have like a specific idea that I want to make all my covers have a certain look, and often it feels like each one kind of has its unique, you know, problem to solve, you know, so that's part of the fun, you know, of it.
Now, you do a lot of, it's been like, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but like I always imagine like cover artists as like that kind of like the ideal gig, right? It's like not as big of a headache as sequentials. You still have deadlines, but they're not always necessarily as intense. And you get to kind of like get a little more detailed, more hyper-focused. You get this big image, right? But also you have to tell a story with this one image as opposed to like, you know, the sequential arts. Like, what do you ever miss doing like the insides of comics, or are you like, no, I'm like,
I don't miss it because I'm doing that at the same time.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, like so currently Brian Bendis and I are working on our new creator-owned series called Cover that'll come out from Dark Horse Comics.
Yeah.
The first volume of that was just collected and released from Dark Horse. We did that at DC initially, and that was kind of my return to full interiors on a monthly schedule at DC. So we're working on the new volume of that, Cover. But also Cover's kind of based, well, it's inspired by my overseas travels for the U.S. State Department. So for the last few administrations, much of the year I was overseas, and when I was traveling, it was probably one of the reasons I started doing a lot more covers and stuff and less, you know, regular series on a regular schedule, because I was traveling overseas too much.
Now, do you think I feel like a lot of people that do a lot of traveling, they get to see like more of the world, like, I mean, do you think that kind of adds to, because your art is, in my opinion, otherworldly. You sometimes are like, to me, you come off as like more than human. I don't know how you do it. It's exceptional. Like when I found Kabuki, and and you go, it's all this like multimedia experience, right? It's a book, but sometimes it's prose heavy, sometimes it's typical sequential art, and then you get like real experimental with it, and you know it's so textured and intimate and crazy, right? And like you haven't done anything like that in a little bit. Is it like exhausting? Does it take a lot out of you to do something like that? Because that had a lot to do with like you talk about like the relationship with your dad and how like losing him, spinning like tragedy into that kind of like beautiful performance that you did. Like, I mean, you obviously can't do that all the time, but that's what got you noticed at Marvel, right? Was Kabuki, and then you started working with Brian?
The writing of Kabuki is what got me to offer to start writing Daredevil. This was the very first work I did for Marvel. I started as a writer on Daredevil and created that Echo character. This was like, I think I wrote this in 98, 99, and now Echo's getting her own series.
It's cool to watch her like blow up. She's already premiered in Hawkeye. Like we've seen her.
Yeah.
She was real on the series. How did that feel? Like seeing your child come to life, basically.
Yeah, it was kind of emotional for me. I got to give props to everybody involved there. I was really happy and impressed by the actress, Alakwa Cox. You know, the character is deaf and indigenous, and so is the actress.
Yeah.
And the writers and directors, I like pulled off. I mean, there were scenes in there that I wrote, even lines in there that I wrote like 25 years ago that made it into the Hawkeye series. And I felt there were a lot of ways it could have went wrong. It would be very easy to get the wrong tone for it. And I thought the writers, directors, and the actors did an incredible job at getting the right tone for the character. The outfit, I had the right outfit that all the details I designed were all in the show.
But she was very like rough and brash and often like even physically scary at times, right? But also like had that tenderness like with her, the father figure. Yeah. Like I agree. I thought they did very well with her. I'm excited.
Yeah, her dad is another character I created, which was cool to see it portrayed by actor Zach McLaren, who I'd seen on Westworld. He's in Reservation Dogs. He's in a ton of stuff forever, and it was so cool to see him embodying that character as well.
Well, I'm really excited that you and Bendis. I thought the volume 1 of Cover was awesome. I really dug that. It's been weird seeing his Jinx World properties kind of jump around, but I love Dark Horse, and I'm glad it seems like to be a good home for you guys, and I'm excited for you guys.
Well, he was exclusive at DC before, so we had to do the creator-owned stuff through an imprint at DC. But now he's not exclusive, so all my creator-owned stuff is at Dark Horse. Same with Neil Gaiman and Bendis. So yeah, all our creator-owned stuff will continue to come out through Dark Horse. People can find all of my art books and my Kabuki series at Dark Horse. They just offered a brand new 4-volume omnibus of Kabuki.
Ooh.
So each of those volumes is 416 pages each.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, really the foundation of my work in comics are those 4 omnibus volumes that you can find at Dark Horse. So if somebody is familiar with my recent work that they discovered in a cover, there's almost 1,700 pages of writing and interior art and experimental styles like you suggested, and just a variety of different storytelling approaches and evolutions, of those characters and myself over the years on that story.
Yeah.
But I'd also highly recommend that they pick up that collected volume called Cover, also at Dark Horse.
I cannot agree more. Cover Volume 1, you can get it now. Those 4 omnibuses of Kabuki are like nothing I've ever read. And that's truly those books that you can read, let it simmer, think about it, read it again later, and take more away from it. You very much get your money's worth out of it. I know you've got people at your booth, so I'll wrap up with you.
Yes, thanks for coming to Kansas City Comicon. Thanks for listening to Blake's Buzz. This is David Mack.
David Mack, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, this is such an honor. I love you and love your work.
So much, man.
This is so cool, dude.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the passion you put into it and your knowledge of my work. I really appreciate that.